Good evening, everyone. Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Today we have two guests. We have author Recy and her husband, Hargrave, and I am excited to have them back. Come on in the room. We're going to talk about two of their books. And the first one we'll talk about is Touch Not. You guys come in the room and we'll talk about war. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, we can. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, and thank you guys so much for that. And those who looked at that other video, thank you for coming back, and all things are good. Tell us about yourself. You talked about, I see different videos that you have, Dr. Reese talking about the book, and I seen a wonderful clip. I know you probably didn't expect for me to talk about this, but I seen you coming home and your beloved husband ran out to you. I thought that was so funny and loving. I said, look at that. So tell us about the ministry Touch Not, and we'll talk, guess if you're listening out there, whether you're listening from work or wherever your listening device is. We thank you guys for listening on. And they have two books that we're going to discuss. The first one is Touch Not, and the second one is WAR, and that is an acronym that which they will talk about what war means. But first, tell them about your ministry, about yourself, kind of tag team like you do as you're going forward. You told us a little bit in that video how you guys are doing things within the community and how this I guess I would say organization or this important ministry you have going forward. So tag team and just tell us about yourself and about this ministry, and we'll get into the books.
Well,
You want to tell them how we started at a marriage conference?
well, that's how we started the book war. Well, it started with the book Touch Not. I wrote Touch Not as a result of my first marriage, and it helped me heal and etc. Touch Not helped me to realize how valuable I was in the eyes of God. And so when we started working on this second book, Touch Not falls right in line to it's kind of like a part two. War is kind of like a part two of Touch Not because Touch Not was my first marriage of domestic abuse, and second marriage, we bring all our histories together and try to make this stuff work, and we blend together. And we call the ministry, we needed a platform to sell the books. And so we called it Touch Not Ministries because when you realize your value, that was my first book. But in the second book, War, is just as important because I have to realize that Alvin is created by God. So I'm not to touch him in a way that's harmful or hurtful. And he had to do me the same way. He had to not touch me because I'm God's daughter. And so he had to treat me in an honorable way because I'm a princess. If God is my king, I'm a princess. And so Touch Not connected everything together for us.
Yes. Willing, able, and ready. That's the acronym for the war book.
Yes. And so we come together. I wrote Touch Not and we co-authored War. And that is just the starting point of resources that we want to share because we're working on the third. And we want to not just help minister to the individual, but we want to, when that individual comes together with a spouse, we want to minister to marriages. We want to minister to the families. That's next. And so
Wow, what a dynamics that you have. And just listening to you, Dr. Reese, and both of you guys, how you mentioned touch not. I was just thinking touch. I didn't think to the point of not touching each other. That's even more deeper depth as in talking about that. And I just thought about that and I'm like, wow, this is a little bit, I think this will probably tie in together what I'm saying. So we have our girls, we tell them, we tell our boys, we don't really say it to our girls, don't hit that boy. We tell the guys, don't hit that girl. But then we have girls that are more aggressive nowadays. And you have those young men that was raised by those moms or a single parent or dual parent home that they will not hit the girl and then they getting just beat. And so when you say that, I just thought about that aspect that men are always listening to their moms or parents that say don't touch. but then men are not going to talk about, I don't know if that's in your wheelhouse, that you'll someday, men don't talk about being abused. You know what I'm saying? So that might be something somewhere and maybe come together, but I just thought about the touch. And so in your book, Touch Not, you do, like I said, I read your other book before, but in your book, Touch Not, is just so many things. But if you guys are looking on, I just want to, this is what I call resetting for those who are in it. I'm a reset. We have Dr. Recy and her husband Alvin. And so the first book that we're going to talk about, so we won't ping pong, they'll know we discussed both books. But right now we're going to go into that first book, is Touch Not. And that Touch Not is living through the fire. Thank you for having the book. Bring it to you, more to you. Uh, Okay, but I can see it. There's a little glare. But living through the fire, a journey from survival to victory. And so you, like you said, you wrote that book from your first American First experience. Now I want to talk about um, why, Dr. Reese, and you guys can tag team or whatever. So why was it so important for you to have your readers focus on emotional and spiritual health healing? Why was that so important to you?
I do want to mention first that touch not comes from that scripture, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. And one thing that we have to realize as individuals, that God created and anointed all of us for a purpose. So it's not just for the famous person, it's not just for the preacher, it's for each of us. And so touch not is something that we have to realize. God created me for a purpose. And when somebody touches me in a harmful way, touches me to hurt me, they are touching God's purpose. And that's a dangerous place to be. And you have to realize that you're valuable. And so I started writing Touch Not many, many years ago. And during COVID, when everything was shut down, there was nothing I could do but just be by myself. And I started writing more on Touch Not. But God had me stop because I was writing with an attitude from all the abuse that I suffered. I was mad. I was mad, and I had all of that anger buried down deep inside me. Was I saved? Yes. Was I going to church? Yes. Was I raising my kids God's way? Yes. And I was staying busy. I threw Jesus over top of everything. Saved, throwing Jesus on top of all the hurt and all the pain. And what happens when you throw something on top of something? It buries everything deep inside.
Mhm.
And so, was I spiritually healed? Yes, I was walking, doing all the things, but was I emotionally healed? No. God told me, you stop, you write what I tell you to write, and then you can write what you want to write. And so that's how that first book, COVID, came about. I was shut down and God was dealing with me about my attitude. And so then after that, I was able to, so I believe that that book was for me. It was for me to really process that spiritual healing. So before I even went back to Touch Not, I also went through therapy. Mind you, I buried everything deep inside me, didn't talk about it, but it was there. I threw Jesus on top, hallelujah, and everything. But I had all of that hurt and pain deep inside of me. And when I got in therapy, Ellen, the first 3 or 4 sessions, I cried my eyes out. I
Mm.
I had a roll of toilet paper and I ended up with balls of tissue in my hand because I had begun to talk about it and all that stuff started to come up. So you can be spiritually healed, but if you're not emotional healed, what are you going to do? You're going to attack the one who hurt you. You're going to slander him because he hurt you. And all of that comes out in other ways. It comes out when you parenting. It now what I did, I got busy. We raised 8 kids together, and I had that buried, functioning in church, functioning at work, functioning at home, functioning as a wife, but I had all that stuff, and therapy did something new for me. So that's why
Mhm.
emotional healing as well as spiritual healing is very important. Because at church, when I went to church, I wore a mask. How many of us wear a mask to church? covering all the hurt and shame and everything that we've been through. And so I
Mhm.
hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, you did answer my question because
Twofold.
that is even going even yeah, that's even going in even like you said, you masking it, going to church and just masking everything. And like you said, when you wrote your first book, God had to tell you, "Whoa, you're angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to do a little bit different here. You're going
Yeah.
to be more sound, to paraphrase Liam saying, and you're going to write this book," which you did. I haven't
With
read
a
it yet.
forgiving heart. With
Yes.
forgiveness from the point of forgiving and know that and understanding that hurt people hurt people.
Yes, yes, yes. I want to ask your husband, like I said, I would do a tag team. I'm going to reset again. And so I'm resetting, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking down because I'm looking on YouTube, and I see that there's 25 people, and there's one over there. So no one said anything. So I'll be looking up and down, but I did say hello to them. And so thank you, 25, for being here, whether you're in the queue looking from work. We thank you for being here. Again, Dr. Recy and her husband, Alvin, we're talking about their first book, Touch Not. And so we're going to go, I wanted to ask you, being that she talked about her emotions, so I want to go male, female. With your wife, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and when she has that emotion, and she's talking about that. How do you? I don't know if you guys were dating along this time, but I just want to kind of surfacely say, how do you, as a man, and she is your wife, how do you deal with those emotions that a woman has within her? And I tell my son, I say, when you date, he's 29 now, and you cannot fix her emotions. Give that to God. Did you find yourself trying to fix Dr. Reese's emotion? How did you handle that? Whether it was during the dating process or the early onset of your marriage?
Well, excuse me. As a man, we try to fix everything. Even, but me, I like to listen. I'm a great listener. She can tell me something, and a month later, a week later, I'm gonna ask her about it because
That's good.
I listen. So when I knew she was processing, she could cry to me whenever she wanted to do something. She could cry, and I would be understanding because I don't know. I just had that understanding just to know that she needed comfort, that I was there for her to support her because I support her in everything that she does, but I wanted
Mhm.
her to know that I care and that she could come to me. Well, that's what wives do, right? You're
Mhm.
supposed to confide in your husband. So when she came to me, I gave her the love and comfort that she needed. She knows she could confide in me.
You
And and
know, I
and
like, go ahead, Dr. Reese.
we've been married for 24 years. So
Hmm.
Touch Not was just released December of last year. So I was going through I went through therapy years after this trauma. And he gave me space. I told him, I said, Alvin, I'm getting in therapy. He gave me the space. And,
Wow.
he just said, okay, okay. And that's all he said. It's going to cost me this much. He said, okay. So he gave
Wow,
me
that
the
is
space
beautiful.
to do
So,
that.
Mr. Alvin or Brother Alvin, did you at any point felt like you had to fix something? Because you was there for her. You said you allowed to cry. She said you saved space. Did you feel like it sounded like just from listening to you that you didn't try to fix anything? You just let her just put her emotion out. And so that's what we and Dr. Reese can say herself is we just want you to listen. We're not asking you to fix anything.
And that's like this commercial. I don't know if you've seen it or not, with the lady with the nail in her head.
Yes.
Yeah, she
Yes.
was trying to explain her husband. Her husband just wanted to fix it, but she didn't want him to fix. She just wanted him to listen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if men would be great listeners, they'll fix the problem.
Yes, that is so awesome. That is awesome. Again, I love the way you guys tag team. And so this is another thing, Dr. Reese, that we're going to talk about. Um, and this is the one that I said is tough. To me, it was tough because this is my second marriage. And this one kind of gets me kind of uh, almost to tears inside, because as a believer, and I'm not, and saying this the way I say it to both of you guys, I'm not trying to tear down the house of God, but being a believer, we have to be honest within our marriage. And there's going to be more questions about how the world feel about the Big C church when it comes to marriage moving forward. So what I want to ask you, Dr. Recy, is as a church body, and when we're handling issues of marriage, especially when it comes to the woman, we are, I'll speak for myself. It's generally when we see someone that's married, whether the husband is abusive or not, and there's a problem, we see they say, pray about it. Ask God about it. You could be getting hit upside the head and you're trying to stay in there and endure. Do you think that within your you both own point of view, do you think us as a church body, do we understand, or do we even I know the men always get the encouragement, the male, like the female, she could be ousted. Let's say if he has a position, especially if he has a position, she could be ousted because she's definitely causing his uh, integrity or his position to be at harm if she doesn't stay by him. And so that's what I want to ask. And that right there to me in some of the world is, do we help enough, or do we know how to help in that area when there's issues within a marriage when it comes to the body of Christ?
That is a good question, and that's a tough question. But one thing, Ellen, and I can only talk from my experience. When my husband got a lot to say, I'm gonna get my stuff out first.
No.
But when I was going through, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't connect to anybody. I suffered alone. The only person I had to talk to was God, because I didn't feel like didn't have a high self-confidence, and I wasn't really connected to people in the church. And so one thing, the church has to be a safe place, okay? A safe place, and it has to be it can't just preach marriage. It has to be a good example of what a strong marriage looks like. Okay. And then for me, well, I had to have a women fellowship. I have to be connected, have opportunities where I can connect with women. And let me tell you, when I was in the church, my first husband and I, we were in the church. He was a minister. And I have to say that they found out what was going on because I reached out for help. And I reached out for help because I needed physical help at the time, and they supported me. They supported me really well. No, they didn't tell me to get up and go and move and all of this, but they supported me. And there was a assistant pastor that supported him. And so I had that help and I had that support. And when I left, when I was strong enough, they taught me. My pastor taught a whole Bible study on boundaries and setting boundaries. And that that made me strong enough inside to leave and to be set free from that. But I had to be able to do that myself. If somebody tells me to leave and I leave because somebody tells me to leave, that means that somebody has to be ready to support me in my leaving. And if they can't be that God for me, where am I going to go? Right back.
Mhm.
So it has to be a church that can support not only the wife in building up her self-confidence enough to know that she is valued, that she is worth more than that, and holding the man accountable with men fellowships, making that man, hey, what are you doing? How are you treating your wife and all of that? We need all of it in a good church and good examples of marriages.
Before we go to Brother Alvin, Dr. Reese, I want to stay right there while I'm listening. You said that you reached out for help.
Yeah.
which in my mind, as a listener and soon to be a reader reading your book, is that he did not reach out for help. He did not say the house is burning up.
No, no.
You, as a wife, was the one say, "Hey, I'm on fire." And that's what I was saying earlier. Is especially when they have a position,
Yeah.
they have to be honest and have, like you said, those accountable men to say, "Hey, brother, you can't be doing this," and they can't be doing it. The one that's speaking to him. So
Yeah.
this is good talk. This is good talk. Brother Alvin,
Okay.
what is your point of view on this that we're talking about?
There is a process. Say if you're having an issue, let's say you do go to church and you take it to the person that's talking to you. And I'm gonna use this as an example, not saying we have one, but if you have a BMW, you don't take it to a Ford dealership or on the corner to get it worked on. If you value your marriage, you go to a marriage counselor. But not everybody wants to go to a marriage. Either one of the spouse may not want to go, either male don't want to go, the husband don't want to go, or the wife don't want to go. But then that's where it's come to you guys have to really talk. But I would say go to a marriage counselor to get some professional help. So you gotta try all of your avenues, do all you can to save your marriage. Now, every marriage, you get a toxic person here and a toxic wife and a toxic husband. Then you have a toxic marriage. Well, that toxicity does not need to be together. But what I'm saying is, take your marriage, value your marriage. Okay, if you go get counseling, go get some from a spiritual advisor, then go get some counseling from a marriage counselor.
Christian marriage counseling.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
And
Resetting now. Resetting. Look like 25 still there. There's no questions in the queue. This will sometimes you'll see more replays when the replays come. So this is going to be sent out and sent to you. So thank you guys if you're watching on, whether you're at work or whether you're just watching without coming in the queue in the room of the YouTube. I thank you for being there. Dr. Recy, this is another question within the book. And this comes from with you leaving the relationship with you, what you was in. And now you're with your beloved husband, Mr. Alvin or Brother Alvin. What was it like for you? And I like this. This is raw talk to me. We're being transparent and honest. For you to relinquish your trust during the dating process and during the marriage to your husband. What was that like?
it Alvin I believe that Alvin was sent by God. In the book, I do talk about how we met. My dad set us up. And so I talk about all of that. But in our meeting up, we talked on the telephone. We wrote via email first for months. Then we started talking on the telephone before we even had our first date. He was such a patient person with me. And he listened to me, because I had all the residue of the former relationship, and he would just listen. He was so patient. And so it's not that I trusted him. I trusted the God who sent him. And when you think about it, my daddy hooked us up. My daddy gave me that telephone number. And when I think about my daddy doing that's God the Father sending it. And the ironic thing is that he should have been my first husband because my daddy tried to do it years before I ever married the first time, years before he ever married the first time. So we talk about it in the book. And so after we had came through our first marriages, here it goes again. God said, "Hey, I got this." My daddy said, "I got this daughter I want you to meet." And he said, "The same daughter?" Yes, I was the same daughter. So it's not that I trusted him, although he was patient and all those things. As a matter of fact, he didn't even hey, kiss me. Oh, you think he didn't even ask for a kiss. It was months that I asked him, I said, "Are you ever gonna kiss me?" And so it was his patience and it was trusting the God that I believe sent him in my life.
I made her beg for it.
Did you hear what he said?
Yes, I heard what he said. Yes. From your point of view. What was it like when, like I say, her relinquishing the trust? She said it's through her daddy, through God, really a godsend. So what was that like now that she's given the trust onto you? I know you're on the receiving end, but what was that like for you? I don't know how much your dad told you about her. I don't know, because sometimes we as women we tell the men all the life story. We're just dating him, my boyfriend, this, that, and y'all thinking that you let him get away with that and you expect for me to be a better man? You know what I'm saying? I can talk it, but when are you gonna let the baggage go? You know what I'm saying? So what was that like for you on the receiving end, being that sounding board or that rebound man, as we call it back in the day?
She told me her story.
Ooh.
So by her telling me her story, she didn't hold anything back. She told me her story. So that just encouraged me even more to just want to show her a whole different life.
Mm.
Wanted to show her how love could be, how marriage could be, that she could be happy for the rest of her life. That's what I wanted to show her in the beginning. In the beginning, it was unreal to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
unreal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Yes.
what is that? I want to ask you again too. What was it like? Because I'm thinking on like, this is my second marriage here. I didn't tell my husband about where I came from and my hurt and pain. In fact, I was in the I wasn't for the opposite for the same sex. I just hated men at that moment, and I didn't want to. When I seen couples holding hand, I was like, "That's a lie. They were somebody else." I know she, that I would had that kind of hurt, but I didn't pour it on my husband that I'm married to now for 34 years. I didn't pour it onto him,
Mhm.
so he was listening and very patient with me. So, what was that like? For you to be that sounding board or that rebound. Some of us, and Dr. Reese can know, so some people go back. They just want to be healed a little bit enough to go back to the man. I wasn't trying to go back. So what was that like for you to carry that and unpack those things that she had, or did it take a little bit more time to unpack them? And with scars like that, um, I think that is just how much are you willing to unpack? Really. And how
Ah,
much are you willing to carry
mm,
in
mm,
helping unpacking those bags? So when do you know that there's another bag right there let me help you unpack that?
mhm.
So what my husband said, long story short, with thinking of that, he just said, "Excuse me, ma'am, could you hold my camera bag?" And this was Valentine's Day, 1988. Now it's 34 years of marriage and 38 years of being together. So I've been holding his camera bag ever since. So what was that like holding those bags or unpacking those bags for you?
For me, it was delicate
Mm,
because I did not want to, in any kind of way, exhibit any kind of thing that would make her say, "Oh, wait, what is this? Who is this?" So for me, it was like being very not walking on eggshells because we were very open and honest. That was one of our things that we would say to each
mm,
other all the time: be open, be honest. So
mm-hmm.
if something were to come up, we talk about it. Just say, "Hey, this is where how I feel about it. How do you feel about it?" But yeah, but it was very delicate in the beginning.
Wow. We're going to go into our next book. But I have one more question for you, Brother Alvin. One more question. What would you say to those guys that have someone in their lives that's been have so much trauma, and they really may like this woman? What would you say to that man, that husband to be in the, I guess I can say, delicacy of unpacking and being more loving and caring and listening? How do they start that journey from your point of view?
Mm. I would say that she's a diamond in the rough. she's she is um, more precious than a diamond ring, worth more than gold because she had baggage. Some men won't marry a woman, won't even talk to a woman if she has kids. She had 4 kids. But that to me, see, I had what I haven't mentioned here was that I was married before.
Mm-hmm.
When my first marriage dissolved, I felt that it killed the dream that I've always had that I wanted children, like lots of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that dream was dead. But look what this was like. I have a new wife and kids. That was just a
Wow.
bonus thing for me.
Wow.
So don't look at them as being baggage. I didn't look at them as being baggage. I looked at them as being a gift. So when I had this
Mm.
one gift, I ended up with 4 more gifts. So I was just overjoyed with gifts.
Wow. That is so beautiful. You just bringing me to this. I can be transparent about this. When I met my husband, I had 2 children. I had a one that was barely 2 years old and one that was 1 month. Today, the oldest is 40 years old, and that second child is 38, and we have a 36 year old and a 29-year-old son and a daughter. But you will never hear him say, these are my wife kids and these are my kids. He never treated them that way. Never. So I see the beauty of that, of having the kids and really being there for them all. So I'm like, wow, this girl is 40 years old and you can still look at her face, and that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing to just put that family together like that. So I just had to let that out the bag since so you weren't the only one. I came in with two little kittens. You had 4. That's what my daughter told me. They're coming in with these little babies. But I appreciate that. I'm going to reset, and I still see in the queue that 25. We're going to talk about your other book. And so you guys co-written this together, and you title it War. Let's get that acronym. That is a beautiful book. Wow. And so that book right there, you say willing, able, and ready. And it's a guidebook to fighting for your marriage with the armor of God. So I want to talk about armor of God, but do unveil that. But go ahead and tell us about the book, and then we'll remember why you put the end on that armor of God. Do people even know? Would the church know? Well, what is that armor? But let's go ahead and talk about this book that you guys co-written together.
You really made the perfect segue when you were talking about willing. And so when we in the it's divided into 3 sections. And that first section is talking about being willing. And it talks about the foundations that shaped our ideas of marriage. It talked about, I mean, we share our personal stories of how we saw our parents' marriage. We talked about how our first marriages impacted how we saw marriage. And so when we met each other, were we willing to get married? Yes, we were willing because everybody, well, a lot of people want companionship. I wanted to help with them children. So, yes, we were willing, but along with being willing, you have to consider the foundations that have shaped your ideas of marriage
Yeah.
because you bring that's part of the baggage that you bring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Want to add something to that?
I have total agreement.
Okay.
Total agreement.
Okay. And so that's the first thing we talk about, being having that willing heart to want to start, to want to be connected to someone. And then even we talk about when you share your history with one another, how not to use that as a weapon when you fight. Share
Mm.
your history. When he found out my history, he took my history and he loved me through it. He didn't
Mm.
ever use it as a dark web. That's why your husband probably did that. Absolutely not. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
He loved me through all of that, like God would do. And so that's the willing part of that. And then the A is for able, along with being willing. Well, in scripture, it talks about the power of two and how when two or three are gathered together, there I am in the mix. Talk about all the power you have when you connect together, the power that you have. And so in the able section, it talks about all the promises that you have when you come together as two with God in the middle. And then that R talking about being ready and standing in the armor of God. And you got to think when you talk about the armor of God, well, that's for fighting. But we never related to fighting in marriage. And yes, every couple fights in marriage. But do we fight fair? Do we fight from a God perspective? Do we see our spouse as our enemy, or do we really see the enemy for who he is?
Mm.
Um,
Love it, love it. You have anything to add on that, Brother Alvin?
No, sir. No, ma'am. It was a awesome um, write together.
I
And
love it, love it,
we
love it.
found it out.
So, how long did it take you guys to write it, and when did you join uh, the thought process of putting it to paper, pen to
okay,
paper, and publish?
in 2022, we were invited to speak at a family conference, and the theme was This Means War. And we were tasked to speak to the married couples. And so that's where, oh, okay. So we came up with War, Willing, Able, and Ready. And so we did it initially as a workshop
Mhm.
at a conference in 2022. And then we held it. I held it, put it to the side. Said, this is going to be a book one day. I
Mm.
wrote, and then I wrote Touch Not and all the things. And then after Touch Not was published and finished in December, we pulled out that War and we started working on War and
Love it.
asking him all the questions. Because you know, men don't really like to talk. So I had to ask him questions. Hey, tell me about this. Tell me about this. And I learned things that I didn't know before. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's been a work that's been held for a long time. Yeah.
but it was fun to write
Beautiful,
together.
Mhm.
beautiful, and I can't wait to unfold that. And so, resetting again, and thank you guys that are out there. We have the some people peeking in and out. We thank you guys for being here again. Dr. Recy and her husband Alvin Hargraves, and we're talking about two of their books. We talked about the first one, Touch Not, and now we're on War, and they gave you a taste of that acronym. So I wanted to ask, and this is a tag team talk here. Okay, so from you guys' point of view, how does one prepare for marriage and readiness in marriage, and what does that entail? Because a lot of people want to get married, women are excited to get married, but they're forgetting about the work.
Um, marriage readiness is less about finding the right person, but more about becoming the right person.
Yeah. You have to work on your character first. Okay. Bringing your character into the marriage. Let God develop you to be all that He purposed for you to be. And then you can connect with somebody. Because if you haven't developed your character before you get married, when you get married, all those cracks and because your spouse is going to see everything. He's going to see your attitude, all of that. It's going to bring it out if you haven't developed your character first.
So before you get married, you already uh, have developed patience. You've already developed how to get along with somebody. You've built, hopefully, some substantial foundation. And you've done this because most people going to ask you, well, what's your credit like? Well, what's your spiritual growth, your financial responsibilities, clear understanding of your values? I mean, everything. This is the stuff that you should have before you get married. So then when you get married, you understand what you're going into. Have patience for the other person.
Yeah, character is who you are when nobody is looking. Okay. When you get
Mm,
married, you got somebody that's looking at everything. He's gonna see everything. He's gonna see you in the raw. And so
mm,
if character is who you are when times get bad, who you are um when people talk about you, who you are, that's what character is. And if you have not developed that before marriage, watch out, because it's all coming out. Because you got to think, during that dating phase, all you see is the good stuff.
Come on. Come on.
But when you say I do, that's when you wake up. Oh, I didn't know you look like that. You
Come on.
know, I didn't know you act like that. You know,
That's why I say
It's so true.
met her, she was unreal, but then in life, the real comes. And
Yes.
real comes to every marriage. So you just be
So true.
real.
So true. I was thinking about when I first got married. Uh, that's when I realized that I was married. But I kept writing my maiden name. It took me 2 weeks to know that I was Sutter, to write Sutter. In 2 weeks, even though I knew I was married and everything. And then that's when I realized I was married, is folding up my clothes together in his. And I'm going, I am really married, you know. And some people may not think about that, but nowadays people, like we talk about, they want to get married. But if you're Dr. Recy, you can attest to this. If you're out there and you're talking about getting married, and once you gotta the dating phase, they making this food and doing all this, and then somebody say, well, why would you make your food for your husband? Why would you make your food for this man you're dating? Why would you do that? And so the thing is, it saved money. It keeps them healthy, and different things like that. Just go ahead and do that. But they don't understand that they look at, can I be honest with you, Dr. Reese, both of y'all? They keep looking at the wedding gown and the ceremony. And when the lights off and you have to walk toward, you left God at the altar, whether you're going to bring him or not. Stop looking at the wedding bells. The real work starts when you get home.
Yes,
because that
Some
wedding
people,
gown stays in the closet or you give it away. I
that's
haven't brought
right.
that out since the wedding day. Yeah.
The lights are off. Now you're together. Now you got to work together. And so in those things, like you say, you have to be ready. You have to be ready for the ready. There are so many things that is marriage unto happiness. That's what I would be looking at. People think you're supposed to have. Is your husband responsible for your happiness?
You're not.
He's not. Will Smith told him, he said, I've been trying to make you happy, Jada. I am not. He just learned he's not responsible for her happiness.
You
So
better
they
be
have to
happy
stop
first.
thinking that. Say it again, Dr. Reese.
Better be happy first.
That's what I'm saying. Be happy first.
He gonna
And
make you
so,
mad.
be happy first. And I always tell them this: marriage is unto God. He coined this thing. I'll tell my daughter, my youngest daughter, that I didn't marry my husband so that he could be all mine and Princess Patty and laying my nails out and all that. He's not there for that. He would do that, but he's not there for that, for the Princess Patty and the heirlooms and all that stuff. We got to get that out of our head. And 50-50, get that out your head. You might not do no 50-50. You might get 20. You might get 80%. You might do 100 by yourself. And so that's the thing, that all the myth and all those different things like that. How important to both of you guys, how important or how vital is it to allow God into your marriage, whether you are faith-based or not? How important is that?
It is very important to have the Lord as the foundation of your marriage.
When I think about the principles in the Bible, they work. They work no matter if you're saved or not. If you operate on the principles of the Bible, they're going to work. The Bible, there's sound principles there. But just think, if Alvin and I, we come together, and I think about it as, the scripture says a 3-string cord is not easily broken. Well, think about if it's just me and Alvin, and there's 2 strands of hair, and we just twist it together.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, it's together, but when that wind blow and when the rain come, that's going to come loose. Okay, but when you plait it, we call it plaited back then. When you take
Yep.
and you braid it together, that's God in the center. That wind can blow
Yes.
coming out. When these women get braids, they're not coming out because it's 3 strand together.
Yes.
So when you come into a marriage, you can have all the niceties. You can have all the niceties and do all the things that the Bible says. But the thing is that when you run out, your strength run out. I can be patient with you all day. That's a Bible principle. I can be patient with you. I can be forgiving with you. I can be all the things that the Bible tells me to be. But if I'm just doing it in myself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get sick and tired of it. Okay. But if I'm doing it with God, He is my
Yes.
strength, and that's everlasting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Non-believers have a marriage agreement,
Like when a contract.
a contract. Non-believers have. We have a marriage covenant because we're
Go
That's
covered.
ahead now. Go
yeah,
ahead now. That
yeah.
Yeah.
is so true. Because I talked to someone, uh, and the person said that there's no need of being married. Marriage is just a piece of paper. And they said that, I want to keep my benefits, which, when you get married, especially if you're married to the government, the husband, or whether he's a boyfriend or not, he's going to have to do away. But the thing is, they think it's just a piece of paper. And what I said to that person, if you're with him and y'all doing things like you're married, when he dies, there's no benefit. You get nothing. Your kids. But you did all that 20 some plus years just to be with him. You get no benefits. So you might as well get benefits in the marriage. Get the benefit in the marriage. You know, it's very important, like you say, it's covenant. It's not just a piece of paper. God ordained, as you both know, God ordained marriage. We could care less, really, in human aspect. We could care less. Which brings me to my final question and our time. Would you believe it's already 8 o'clock? But
Ooh.
we had some things going on. But this is the thing. This generation, our 1980s babies and going forward, they see no reason to get married, especially looking at the house of God. It's no difference in the world. What do you guys say about that? What is your take on that? Especially they saying that it's no difference in the house of God, marriage, than out in the world, because we've seen so many things fall down right before our eyes. Church marriages, secular seem to be doing pretty good. What is this stable? What is that stable? What is that, you know, thing as a body of Christ when it comes to marriage? How we fail so desperately that now this generation, the 1980s babies, moving on and say it's unnecessary to get married. Why are you even having children?
We as
What's your
believe
thought process on that?
we as believers should examine if we are really living out what we profess. Like the um goodness. Um I was just going to say the marriage vows. What we profess. We profess love. We profess peace. We profess so many things that God tells us to do as what men should do for their wives, love your wives. But when the outsiders, not outsiders, non-believers, I'm sorry, when
Yeah,
non-believers look at us and see us fail, the Christian people, well, they doing all this and they fail. We have God as a covenant. We believe that we know, say that we have hope in our marriage.
yeah.
We have hope. They may not have hope. I can't speak for them. I cannot speak for them. All I can say is that when conflict comes, we take our marriage vertical. When something happens, we go vertical. Now, I don't know what they do, but when conflict or something comes up in the marriage, we go vertical, and God answers prayers.
And there's so many promises that are tied to covenant, the covenant relationship. I mean, we are guaranteed victory because of the covenant relationship we have. And we're two imperfect people,
Yes.
but when we put God in the center, that makes us better together. Okay. And like I said, we have hope. I can't imagine doing marriage without God in the center.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With
That's the
all the
same thing.
history and all the thoughts and all the things that come against marriages today, how can anybody survive?
That is so true. We call it, my husband, we didn't coin this, but we call it intense fellowship. I don't know where we got it
Mhm.
from.
Mhm.
and we do not like to go to sleep. Not saying that we have not went to sleep or gone to sleep uh, on our, letting the sun go down. Y'all know what I'm saying.
That's
On
right.
your
That's right.
wrath.
But
We
Yeah.
my
talk about
husband,
it.
he is
We talk about
my
it.
husband. My husband is quick. He's quick. He's more quick forgiving than me, and I'm learning this throughout. So he'll have his shoulder ready, and I'll just slump down. I'm not really ready to let it go. It's got to simmer. It's got to pop, and I know. And he just have his shoulder, and I just coming in. I just lay down. He just do just like this, and I'm going, oh my goodness. He forgive quickly,
Uh,
quickly. He is really quick forgiving. And he don't let it. And if something happens, and maybe I faltered with something, he always say, and it's my fault. He say, we would have to, I'm like, I did. He said, no, we're gonna make sure it's okay. And I'm going, wow.
Beautiful.
And I'm going, thank you at the same time, Lord. Thank you, Lord. He is just, I'm telling you, the epitome of forgiveness right away.
mm.
He's doing, I need some help. Dr. Reese, Brother Allen, I need some help. But I do go. I do go. And you're right. With God, sometimes I can just go ahead and I could just pray about something. Or if me and my husband had a little intense fellowship, he can go on the road and he'll call me baby, and he'll tell me such, 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 such. Have a good day. I'm going, wow. Because what I say, Lord, this is your son. I'm your daughter. This is what
That's right.
happened.
That's
I
right.
give it to God. I'm not going to my family, not going to my friends.
Yes.
How do you guys handle intense, AKA arguments? How do you guys handle that?
We call them intense moment of fellowships.
Oh, you guys call it that too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's important that the conflict itself is not the problem. It's how you
Mm-hmm.
handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the person, it's the issue.
Right.
It's whatever the issue is. Let
It's
me tell you what one thing. When we first got married, when we disagreed as a female, I don't know if all females do this, but if I was passionate about my thoughts and believed that I was right, my voice would go up here. And Alvin would say, he would be at this level. He would never go up to here. He said, he would look at me and say, you're up here. I'm right here. When you come down to here, we can talk. Then he'd turn around and walk out the door. That would burn me up because I wanted my point to be heard. But if I was going to get heard, I had to come down to his level. So we had to let that
Oh,
sit until I can simmer and express myself at a
oh.
level in which he could receive.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's like I said, our time is going up. We're gonna wrap it up, but since you mentioned it, I must share this. I knew I was ready for a fight. My husband may not remember this, but I was ready for a fight on a Sunday morning.
mm,
This was a Sunday morning, okay? Before church. I made him some oatmeal. I put the butter, the sugar, the raisins like he like it, but he didn't see the butter and the sugar. Usually I have it on top where he can see it.
Uh-huh.
And then he didn't say it right away. And just as I was getting out of the door, he said, "Well, is there any butter?" I knew it. And that's what I said. I knew it. I knew he was going to say that. But the argument didn't get appeased with the reaction that I wanted. So I had to pray for myself, ask him to forgive me because we were going out the door to the church, to the church house.
to
He
the church.
leave that mess in there. So he forgave me. And I tell this story to certain people when we're talking about, but I was ready for that fight over some oatmeal with some butter and sugar in there on a Sunday morning. Did you guys have any Sunday morning intense fellowship that you
I do not think of any Sunday we went to church like that. No.
Oh,
not
no.
on a Sunday
And
morning?
now Saturday.
But you know what? One thing though, Ellen, that I do want to say is that the funny thing is we pray in the morning before we leave out the house, and we pray at night before we go to bed. And
Love
the
it.
thing is, we take turns. It's my week one week, and then it's his week leading the prayer. Sometimes we interject on each other's week. But the thing is, if there was ever an issue one of us was experiencing, we we had to pray. It
That's
would
so good.
ironically be that person's turn to pray. And we look at each other like, you got to pray. And that's something that we have vowed to keep. And if we go to bed at night and it's one person got the attitude, wait a minute, I tell them, hey, isn't it your week to pray? You got to turn around. You got to turn around and look at me.
Yeah.
You have his back to, nope, you got to turn on the rule is you got to turn around and look at each other.
Love it, love it, love it. What would you
That's
guys
what they're
say?
gonna make you get it right.
That is so good. I love this segment, and I thank you. And for those of you who are out there, thank you guys for being here. If you're in the Newport News area, they're going to be at a book signing. I don't know if your husband's going to be with you. Dr. Reese is going to
Will.
be at a book signing here in Newport News at City Buffet. I don't remember the address right now, but she'll be there signing both books or just one book.
Yes, we
Both
have
books.
both books.
They'll be bringing both books, and they'll be signing those books there. Um, we're at capacity, so guys, you can come in, sign your book, and then go on. I hate to say it, and going back out because we're at capacity in our event. We're at capacity. That's all I can say. But do come by and visit, do book signing or whatever. Give us a takeaway on on just both of your books. Kind of sum it up together, and what would you want those out there waiting, or marriage, first time married? What do you want them to take away from both of you guys in this segment? And then tell us where they can reach you at and what you got coming next.
I would say marriage is worth it. That's all I would say. Marriage is worth it. Our book can be purchased at touchnotministry.org. And if you go to that website, we'll send you a signed copy.
And it's also available on Amazon and at Barnes and Noble. And one thing I wanted to say is that um, we are better together. We are better
Mm,
together, and that's the gist. With God in the center, oh, our
mm,
just an awesome duo, and we're just at the beginning. So hold on tight. We have more books coming in time, and we have more events coming. So we want you to stay connected to us on social media, Touch Not Ministries on Instagram and Facebook, because we have an event coming up in August as well. So stay connected.
Yes.
all right, all right. So you're going to have two events in August, our August 15th event, and then another August event.
Uh, right, there's a conference coming up that we're going to.
You've been invited to speak at a marriage conference in
Wonderful! Look at that. Doors are
Oh,
opening, guys. So
yeah.
so do
It's
do come out.
Yeah, it's where war got started. And so now there is a book going
Yes,
back to the
yeah,
thing.
that is beautiful.
That's coming up.
That's
Stay
beautiful.
connected for that. We're excited
That
about,
is so awesome.
and we just want to be a blessing to couples need other couples. There are so many
Yes.
marriages breaking apart, even in the church. They need to see couples making it. They need to hear how God can bless couples if you just
Hmm.
hold on and put some good work into it. Put some work
Yes.
into it.
Yeah.
Connect with other couples. Invest with good readings that's going to bless your marriage. Come on, you
Hmm.
got to, if you want something to work, you got to put some time in it,
Put,
put some money in it, put some work into it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys for being here. I really enjoyed this segment tonight. Again, Dr. Reese and her husband, Alvin, and you guys could show that book up so we can go do that. And you guys will get I'll send this to you guys. Thank you so much. What a lovely dual pack that they'll get, both of them. And this has been a great segment. Thank you guys for coming and spending this time and do stay in, even though we had a little tech problem. But thank you guys so much. And we look forward to you guys at the book signing. And you have an amazing night.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Alex,
Thank you.
for the opportunity.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
You can hit that X and get you out there at the X at the top if you don't see that. Guys, thank you so much for being here again. Alvin, Dr. Recy and her husband Alvin, they talked to us about marriage. Do get their book War as well as Touch Not. This has been a great segment tonight. Thank you guys. As we say, we're going to have an event and it's going to be August 15th at City Buffet. Our special guest is Omar Tyree, New York Times bestseller Omar Tyree. He has a new book out. It is his sports book, and I'm not going to try to remember what it is, but we are at capacity as far as our tickets, and we will see you guys there. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your watch. Thank you for your time. Again, our guest, Dr. Recy, and her husband, Alvin Hargrave. Graves, and this has been an amazing night. Good night to you guys. I won't keep you long. Good night.